was just stuck in my head all morning. So, bow, bow, now, 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 now. Let's go, girls.
I'm Josiah Matsumoto.
And I'm Carl Matsumoto.
And this is Motosport. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you a lot. And
with us always is our on-air producer, Jared.
Hello.
Always close by. Pretty much on mic just as much as us, but just an on-air producer.
I'm aspiring to be on the mic less.
I love it. Great. So we raced in Jeddah this week.
We sure did.
The Cornish circuit in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Oh, yay, Saudi Arabia.
I mean, America's not.
I mean, yeah,
much better,
pretty much nowhere in the world is a good place.
I've had this conversation like 4 times this week.
Yeah.
About Saudi Arabia.
Sports washing? Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the sports washing of all the terrible genocides and things.
And I'm like, yeah, you are right. But America
look at us.
is
right?
the one supporting them.
Literally, we're giving them
at us.
weapons. Like, we have no place to condemn. Except,
no.
We can condemn it all, but we don't have any power, so
it
who cares?
don't matter.
Yeah. Anyways, so forget that we're in Saudi Arabia. We're talking about Formula One. This is the important thing.
It's completely different, completely separate.
Absolutely. All right. First couple things off the bat. Follow us wherever you're listening to this podcast. Subscribe, please. Follow us on social media at motosportpod. Pretty much everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah. And you can also email us at motosportpod@gmail.com. That's motosportpod. Wow, okay, that's a lot. I don't think I'm going to spell it every time.
GMAIL.COM.
They can get at gmail.com, I hope.
I don't know.
I just wanted to make sure it's motosport, not motorsport.
Got it.
It's the name of the podcast. All right, if you didn't watch the race, first go to our Instagram page at motosportpod and watch the recap, the bullet journal recap of the race,
well,
so you know where the standings was, the qualifying and the race recap, which will be posted before this episode comes out.
That's where I just got confused a little bit. I was
like,
no, don't tell them to go there.
It's not posted yet as while we're recording this, but it will be posted by the time you're listening to this.
I understand now.
Yeah, for sure. So go check that out. Make sure you get acquainted with what happened during the race because there's a lot of spoilers to come.
Indeed, there are.
And on that note, it's lights out on this podcast.
That's a great place for me to throw in a weird sound effect.
Oh, I have been.
The sound effects
they've been good. Yeah,
have been great.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Biggest winners, sound effects on motorsport. All right, let's go into biggest losers first, shall we? Biggest losers of the weekend. What are our thoughts?
I would say, I mean, there's a lot to process. There's a lot that just happened, like in the first 10 minutes after the race. So,
honestly, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. If you didn't watch long after the race, if you didn't watch after the podium happened, then you may not know, I guess, that Fernando Alonso got another penalty, a 10-second penalty for not serving his 5-second penalty correctly. Similar to Ocon last week. Actually, the exact same thing as Ocon last week. But
I think I just realized, does that put him behind Hamilton?
No, it puts him just behind
Russell.
Russell. Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure about
seconds?
that.
I think there was
because they were.
Hey, this is Jared, the producer. I am editing this podcast later, and we talked for a while here, and just kind of trying to figure out this situation. We recorded this podcast before the decision was made to give the trophy back to Alonso. Felt the need to put in a little clarifier here. Okay, bye.
Anyway, so sorry, Aston Martin also because
Stroll
had to retire.
DNF. Did we figure out what went wrong?
It wasn't super clear. We know there was something with the fire extinguisher.
Sure.
There might have been a braking overheating issue, but they wanted that car off track very
it seemed
quickly.
very urgent.
Yeah, and it wasn't an engine failure, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Again, you might know more about this by now, but we don't. This is right after the race, so.
To be Alonso right now,
I know.
I can't imagine.
I know. Ugh. And also just to be Aston Martin going from last week's biggest winner, last race's biggest winner to big loser today. Yeah, for sure.
Big loser. With
one DNF, and then your second car that was in third place is now maybe in fifth place. That's rough.
Slytherin's rise to the top is not looking so hot.
I forgot about that. Funny though. Anyways, other big losers, McLaren again.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to have a better weekend.
They got pretty unlucky with start of the race, Piastri damage on the front wing, and then
that
Lando
damage turned into Lando's damage.
Hits the damage. It's the only one in the race who hits the damage.
Right.
And had to go in for an early pit stop to fix it. So that's...
It's just sad. It's just sad. And Piastri was set up to have a really good race.
Yeah.
He had a good qualifying. Lando got screwed out of qualifying.
Lando's being really humbled this season because last season he was favored too, though, on that team. And he's always been, I feel like they've seen him as his rising star.
Oh, totally.
And has...
Well, and I think he still is. This weekend with qualifying, there were car issues. He wasn't able to put times up.
It's not him.
That's
it's
the
car mostly.
And then he's just in a bad position to start, and then it's unlucky he's running over some debris from his teammate.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's just brutal. It's just I hope they bring a better package to this car soon because this is wild. It's alarming to see this drop in performance from them.
It really is.
Yeah, and Piastri had a good qualifying, so he should have been fighting for points and just wasn't. They're just both at the back of the grid.
Yeah, he started P8. That was a great start.
It was amazing. And then just immediately drops back because of the damage, and then he has to pit. Ugh, silliness.
Yeah, so McLaren
biggest losers.
Definite losers.
Still hoping to see more from them in the future, but I think this season is going to be rough. It's going to be fighting from the back.
They're just going to be fighting from the back to
the whole time.
The back of the middle, maybe.
Yeah.
They just don't look good.
As close as all of the midfield is, if you can get the right package at the right time, you could be fighting at the front of the midfield.
No, it's true.
It's not out of the question if they can figure out these reliability issues and get some pace back in the car.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is how close everybody is week to week right now.
Yeah.
You really can turn it around with the right track and the right conditions.
Absolutely.
The midfield is going to be tight all year.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And I think we'll see a lot of shakeups too.
We already are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Very different
Second
year.
race, and it's where are people landing?
So confusing. I really thought Williams was going to have a better race. That's one of the bigger losers today.
Alex Albon.
Well, and Sargent, starting from qualifying, he had one of the fastest lap times.
One of the fastest laps, and then just
I think top 3 lap times in Q1, but it was deleted, and so he started from the back.
He touched the pink paint.
I know that one was dumb. I was like, what?
It seemed really where did that rule come from?
Yeah.
He was even that's not.
He's
that's
it's
not a
literally
thing.
not
That's
possible
not a
to
thing.
go off track at turn 27. What are they talking about? And he didn't.
The rule enforcements this year are
they are. They're nitpicky.
Intense.
The FIA is not messing around. They're like penalties.
Penalties gonna take your 100th podium away from you.
Yeah, savage.
Oh, savage.
Savage. Oh man.
Also, I would say Ferrari is a loser.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
where
Yeah, I
were
was gonna bring
you?
that up.
That was rough, especially Carlos Sainz. I don't know where his head was this weekend. He didn't seem engaged at all.
Right? There was
seemed-
like something wrong.
Yeah.
Like in qualifying, he just seemed so like,
Yeah.
sorry about the stress there, but
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
it just
Like, it
seemed
didn't
to
feel like-
not like he was.
Right?
I wonder if there's something like
There's something
happening.
up. There's something up. I'm not sure what. But like Charles was still fighting. Like he had a great race actually.
He did.
For the most part.
But-
Until they were like, "Oh, you're not just don't fight with signs." I'm
and
not
then
sure.
they missed they could have passed Lewis
Oh,
Yes.
they could have passed
for
Lewis
free.
on
That-
the pit. Yeah, a free pass.
Oh my god,
and
I
then
forgot
don't
about
tell
that.
him in time. Like, why are they still
You-
making these mistakes?
I can't believe second race in Charles is having to tell his race engineer
If you
how
had
to
told
do
me
his
that
job.
2 seconds
was-
sooner, I could have passed him. But the time you told me to pass,
Like,
I couldn't.
What were you guys doing all break,
Ridiculous.
strategy wise, and like
Zero strategy. It was so sad. That was rough. He should have finished higher. Ferrari should have finished above Mercedes this week, and there's no
I'm
reason.
so confused why they didn't.
I'm so lost on that. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It just felt like they weren't trying.
Yeah. And they were saying, Sam Collins was talking about Fred Vasseur and the decision to change out Leclerc's battery pack. And he was saying, well, we basically don't know what the issue is. We're just trying this
What?
to see if
So you're going to take...
they're like, we just know that things are unreliable, but we don't know.
So you're just casually going to take a 10-place grid penalty to try
it out.
to try something out.
We're gonna
'cause
exhaust.
why
We're gonna
not?
over exhaust our resources.
That's bad. Mattia wouldn't have made that move.
Bring Mattia back.
Bring Mattia back. I do love Mattia. Not that, I mean, we'll see how Fred does over the year. It's hard to jump into a new team, especially Ferrari, with as much pressure as the world puts on that team, and as much struggle as they have had over the last 10 years.
To have already used 3
Insane
power units in 2 races. Like, to already be taking engine penalties.
I don't
grid
understand
penalties
that. Yeah, this is way too second race. That should not be happening.
It feels like they got worse strategy wise.
Yes.
I don't understand, and I feel like Leclerc and Sainz are kind of checked out. Why wasn't Leclerc fighting more?
I wondered that too. He wasn't fighting with Sainz
He wasn't fighting
at all.
to
He wasn't pushing.
overtake Sainz.
Like, he said something on the radio during, but we didn't hear much about that at all. And I know they probably didn't show a lot of it.
Yeah, but
whatever conversations they were having with the engineers.
I was still like, they seemed so complacent, just in their like 6th and 7th position for the majority of the race.
It felt like a few years ago when it was like Leclerc and Sainz, just they always finished right next to each other no matter what, and it was always like 4th and 5th and 6th.
Yeah, always
like,
just.
That's what it
middle
felt like
pack.
again. That they're like, okay, this is where we are. We're not really fighting for the front, so whatever. I'm like, what? But you are fighting with Mercedes right now. You do have a better car than them right now.
You have a better car than Mercedes right now. Mercedes is famously struggling. Famously wanting to change everything.
Yes. Like,
famously
Hamilton's not
down on
comfortable in the car.
themselves.
Like, he's
just
saying that publicly.
Hating on their car, just saying something's got to change.
Both drivers are like,
and then
we
Ferrari's
made the wrong
like,
choices. Yep.
Nah.
Right? I don't
We're
get
not
it.
going to take advantage of that at all.
No, we're not
we'll
even
just
going to try to pass
sit
them.
right behind you guys. That's fine.
So weird. It was so confusing.
What the hell?
Like, it just felt like they gave up. Especially Sainz, though, because like the whole weekend, I just didn't see anything from him. Leclerc was fighting.
He didn't even
Leclerc had fights.
Like when Ocon overtook Sainz.
That was
It was
easy.
just like easy.
Yeah, he just
so,
let
like,
that happen.
Vroop, and
so
vroop.
strange. It's like, well, we're not winning, so whatever. I don't know. This is why I would like to see Sainz in a different car. I think he's done with the team.
I think he's done with the team too.
Yeah,
because he's
but
always number 2.
I think that's the team's fault.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I don't think that's his fault. I think that's on the team. And
I don't think the team is doing a good
either
job
of
of
them
keeping
justice.
either of their
Yes.
drivers
No.
happy.
Right.
No.
They are just like, it sometimes feels like they're just like actively screwing them over. Like, why
Absolutely.
did that
Yeah.
message come to Leclerc too late?
So late. Like,
That
why
just-
even send that
Like,
message?
then why even
at
tell
that
him
point?
at that
Right.
point?
If Hamilton's already exiting the pit lane, like, there's nothing you can do.
Like,
You
that seems
you can't speed up that much behind the safety car. Like, it
like, if you're
doesn't-
trying to build confidence in your team, in your drivers,
Yeah.
why would you tell them that? And
yeah,
you
it
should have
just doesn't make
because
sense.
that's what that's a motivating factor. Like, oh, I could have been a place ahead easy, like
Right?
without even trying. All
Ugh.
right, great. Clearly, you're not on my side here.
Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
So yeah,
So,
Ferrari.
biggest losers for sure. Also Bottas. Valtteri's not having the start to the season that he wanted,
Yeah.
and nothing like the start to last season.
Mm-hmm.
Because last season he was really killing it at first.
He was.
He was always putting up points, and then
now-
he kind of fell off at the end of last season. And
Yeah,
I
Joe
don't
started
know.
doing better than him.
Joe's been much more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Joe
that.
doesn't get enough credit.
He doesn't. Well, he's so quiet. You
Yeah.
know, like he's not making waves. He's not trying to
No.
shock anybody. He's just doing a great, consistent job
Yeah.
in a very mediocre car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like doing the work.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do appreciate that there is
Yeah.
somebody who isn't all about just being dramatic.
Yeah. No,
But
it's good to see.
him and Valtteri both are like that.
That's true. They both have that kind of ethic of like, I don't really want to cause drama. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to do my job
Yeah.
and do it well. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can't, to be the number 2 to Lewis Hamilton for so many
long.
years.
For
It's
so
like you
long.
have to have a Valtteri kind of personality
Yeah.
to be
It's
in that
true.
position.
That probably humbles you more than anything. You're like, I'm clearly in the best car on the grid, and I cannot win a race. Like, I just can't.
But
Some races.
to get on maybe transferring to biggest winners, but Checo
Which we can do.
has not fallen into
Ooh.
that mindset. I
Okay.
would say.
Yeah, we can
So, yeah,
switch into biggest winners.
Let's
now.
move on, because, we talked about a lot of losers. It's been negative. It was a rough race for a lot of people. But some big winners today.
Big
for
winners.
Sure. Biggest winner, Checo.
Pole sitter Perez.
Pole sitter Perez. And pole finisher.
Pole finisher. I love
love
a pole
it.
finisher.
I was so excited to see him qualify first. Because he did qualify first at this circuit last year as well.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
to hold on to that, it was just so good. And I think he only had a shot, of course, because Max did start from P15. I do. Like, at winning
Yes,
the race. I
he
don't
had-
think he would have won
no.
this race if
If-
Max even started P2. I
Yeah,
just
no.
don't.
No, he had to have gotten
Yeah.
a solid enough lead.
But he had a great race.
It was still a good
And
race.
he was going like they were going time for time.
Mhm.
They were trading times, like him and Max, fastest
Mhm.
lap to fastest lap. They kept improving, and so
Yeah.
like he was right on
Max
par
just-
with Max, which is incredible to see because it's so hard to drive that Red Bull
Mhm.
at the level that Max does,
Mhm.
especially.
For
And-
2 weeks in a row.
2
for
weeks
2
in a
weeks in
row.
a
Both
row.
races, he's on
Yeah.
pace.
Yeah.
And now
I'm
and now they're
hopeful.
only a point apart in the championship points, which is amazing. And the team already is sounding like they don't want to heavily favor Max necessarily. I mean,
Yes.
I think they probably do want to, but they weren't even trying to
I
have
think-
Max fight for fastest lap there at the end, which is new. That's different.
I wonder if that has to do with their image and because
Yeah.
Max, I mean, even from Brazil alone, like there have been
That was-
so
yeah.
many PR issues surrounding Max. Like
Sure.
his girlfriend or fiance Kelly Piquet
Sure.
was featured on the cover of Vogue as like women in motorsports. She's
Oh, what?
only
She's not in
she's
motorsports.
just dating Max.
Yeah.
And it was like a picture of her in a racing helmet
What?
on the cover of Vogue. I think it was like a Dutch Vogue.
That's so weird.
But it was like she's a model. She's like a Brazilian model, and
what is she doing? Like, she's not women in motorsport.
Models famously are not women in motorsport.
Yeah, unless you're a model who also raced at some point. Like,
yeah,
I don't think she did. She's just like dates people in the sport.
Exactly. And when you're talking about there's so many incredible women to promote in the space who actually are a part of the sport, it was a really weird choice.
Yeah.
And recently Kelly's dad, who last year was banned from the paddock for saying saying a racial slur against Lewis Hamilton, he is now, I think a few weeks ago or like 2 weeks ago, is being charged and potentially convicted for doing that in Brazil by some like LGBTQ rights organization for $10 million.
Whoa, that's cool.
And he's still banned from the paddock. And then all the weird things that Max's own parents do. Yeah, it's not they have to prioritize Checo,
but
for their image.
They also I just don't know that they care that much about their image. This has been going on for years, you know? Like, I just don't think that they would sacrifice a championship driver for their greater image.
Here's the thing. I think, though, that their whole push with Netflix has now come to bite them in the ass because there's so many more people watching this sport and specifically watching, like, a world champion's every single move that people are going to start to hold them accountable.
I guess that makes sense. And not even necessarily, I see what you mean, because, like,
and like
the
in a
show
sport
still
where
very much supports Red Bull, I feel like that Netflix heavily favors Red Bull, but
everyone can
once you're
find
watching,
the facts.
Yeah.
And everyone who
it's
even
easier to figure out the truth.
Looks anything up on Red Bull and Max, those are some of the first things you see, that he's not a good person, and the people who surround him are all very problematic. Yeah. And so it's like, justice. You gotta pay it. Like, they have to pay attention to their image because it's such a part of the sport. Marketing is such a part of the sport.
That's true, and they know that better than anybody, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's wild.
So it's kind of like.
Yeah. Well, I guess not necessarily that they're favoring Checo, but that they're trying to look like they're favoring Max less, even though the car is built around him.
Yes.
Because obviously, the entire brand of the team is built around Max and his driving style, as it should be. Let's be clear.
Yeah,
but I do think they want to stick to what they always say of, if you're performing, we will back you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're not, you're out.
That I respect. Like,
so
if they're
Checo's out there,
Checo's doing a great job, then we'll back you. Great. Like, that's good for the team. So I love that. That makes me happy.
I'm just happy that he's
doing. I'd love a Checo championship. That'd be amazing.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
It'd be so cool. We'll see.
Bring the mariachi.
But also, I wanted to go back. Why is Vogue not, like, amplifying anybody in the W series? Like, Jamie Chadwick has won 3 years in a row,
that's
right?
The whole.
Like,
that's why everyone was pissed off, because they were like, "What the hell?"
And, like, she might even, like, she's like the most likely female to go to Formula One. Like, could
she's
happen.
in IndyCar right now, right?
Is she? I haven't looked recently.
I think. Okay, I'm just gonna say it, and then we'll double.
Gonna look it up.
I think she's teammates with Grosjean.
Oh,
what? That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing of, like, oh, you're gonna put a Brazilian model on the cover instead of someone who's actually a part of the sport itself.
Yeah, she races for Andretti Autosport in Indy.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, she won the W Series, the Formula W Series, in 2019, 2021, and 2022. And they took 2020 off.
Right.
Yeah, so she won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Just totally dominating. And now she's racing IndyCar. That's amazing.
What a missed opportunity.
What?
For Vogue.
Right? Like, come on. I don't understand.
Jamie Chadwick, come on the podcast.
Yeah, please. Yeah, you're in America because you're racing IndyCar. So
True.
You're in America.
Just come over to Minnesota.
Please.
Easy.
We won't come to you.
You know,
you can drive here so fast. Anyways, other winners today. Let's get back to it because good conversation about Red Bull. So happy for Checo today.
Yes, definitely a winner. George Russell.
Oh, George Russell, winner. Had a great race.
I mean, great qualifying.
Great qualifying.
Third when Lewis.
And Hamilton had a better race than I kind of expected, honestly. Yeah.
For how down he was and how.
Yeah. Just not connected to the car.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he was saying all weekend. He's like, I just don't feel it. I just
yeah,
don't feel
and
this
he
car.
literally in his press conference was like, we need
a different car.
And we need the Red Bulls not to finish, the Astons not to finish, the Ferraris not to finish.
Right. And then maybe
like,
we have a shot. Yeah.
It's like, well, that was true about one of those teams.
Yes. But the
Ferraris didn't
match
try.
them. I was so confusing.
But yeah, so I think Mercedes overall for being so like we need to change we need to take a hard look at our
they got
concept.
something right this weekend. The setup was right this morning. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I moved away from my tab.
I would say as much as I wanted, I'm conflicted because I wanted Yuki to get the point, but that was an amazing pass by Magnussen.
And that
the
was
very
a good
end.
fight the whole time.
No DRS. Like, he really fought for it, so I do think he deserves it. But
I think they're both winning, honestly. They're like, granted, Yuki didn't get the point for sure, but he drove well. He fought hard.
Yeah.
Kevin Magnussen's a more experienced driver.
True.
The Haas might be a better car. We're not sure yet. It's hard to tell at this point, but yeah. So he had a good race.
Yeah, and it seemed like he was doing everything that the car could give him. It's not him as a driver; it's the machinery that he's in. So.
Definitely, and he's beating Nick DeVries. So love to see that.
That's true.
Love to see that. Zhou Guanyu, one of the winners, I think, because just again staying consistent. Doing better than Bottas. Yeah. It's just wild. Second year in, and you're like driving better than one of the best qualifiers in Formula One history.
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
Yeah.
There was cool. Not a lot of action from the Alpines.
Alpine was so boring. That was, you're right.
There was Ocon's one overtake of Sainz in the beginning, and then
they had a fine race. They ended up 8th and 9th.
Right.
But they didn't. Yeah, not a lot of action there after the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So, not a winner or a loser.
Middle of the road there. Anything we missed? Any good moments?
I mean, I still just can't get over this whole Alonso situation.
The penalties? You mean? Yeah, very confusing and upsetting.
It
honestly.
Honestly just doesn't seem fair.
And we're Mercedes fans.
I know. We want George and Lewis.
Absolutely, we want them to do better. But this nitpicky stuff is so. It's like, come on, make it about the racing. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that the loss of the podium there was not about the racing.
I'm so curious to see.
Yeah.
How it actually ends and if he gets behind Hamilton or not.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I'm curious if the Aston Martin is going to be able to hold up these improvements. Because it might just be a burst of energy from the beginning of the season, and it might be hard to maintain that level of performance throughout.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll see. But if Mercedes is able to continuously improve and Aston Martin can't keep up with those improvements, then I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah.
I think Mercedes will end up moving ahead, and then Aston Martin will end up fighting with Ferrari. And I kind of do think that will be what happens. Mm-hmm. But I still don't think anybody's fighting for first.
No.
It's just Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be cool if Mercedes
knocks
out of the park with some upgrades, but
yeah, that'd be really cool.
Probably not gonna happen.
Kind of amazing.
It'd be amazing. I'd love to see it come.
And you know that they are making
some
changes.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll see what they do. I know they're changing the side pod concept, thankfully, which means they're probably changing
which actually
a lot
we
of
should
other
talk
things.
about we got a listener question. If there are penalties for changing the side pod, this is a listener question from my brother Jason.
Shout out Jason for getting us into Formula One.
Yes.
Honestly,
actually,
Thank you,
and
Tiana.
and an unofficial sponsor of the pod, because we do use his F1 TV account to watch all of our races, and I do not chip in. So, thank you.
We're so cheap. Oh man.
But anyway.
Anyways, thank you, Jason, for sponsoring us and for getting us into it and for your questions.
Mm-hmm.
So what was this technical question?
It was whether or not a team would take penalties for specifically changing the side pod elements or like the concept elements.
Oh, sure. Because the penalties I know of are all engine related or
and
power
and
unit,
that's
batteries.
Correct. And everything I could find on it was mostly like the repercussions are more going to be like, will they have the budget for it? And
sure.
If you can't just change the side pods, you have to change all the elements the side pod touches. So it's a huge
it's all connected. It's
undertaking.
It's a tiny vehicle. It all works together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like in the process, you might end up having to change your battery pack
sure.
or your engine. So
sure. Just so that it works.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but
and just cuts into the cost cap.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, the hardest part of it.
The budget.
And if you're making that big of a change, like you don't really know what the outcome is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have your wind tunnel time and your virtual wind tunnel time, but like there's only so much you can predict without actually testing it, and you can't actually test it until you put it on the car.
Right.
Because it's during the season. You know when they're trying to bring that package? I know they have said. I can't remember.
Said in the next
believe
next
Imola?
couple races. Oh, did they say Imola? I thought that was
They said
McLaren.
like in June, but I thought
McLaren. Oh, sure. So maybe Barcelona
maybe
at the earliest. We'll see.
we might witness it.
We might witness
Yes.
history. The historical moment of a side pod
Of
change.
a side pod change. That's what we're going to Spain for.
Yes, absolutely.
Side pod change. Dream come true.
Honestly, if it helps.
Oh, never mind.
Nothing.
Hold on.
Just lies coming from our producer over here.
Seriously.
I feel like
theories and lies.
No, I'm looking at the World Wide Web right now, the internet, on Google. The amount of people that are just saying things about Mercedes in headlines.
Sure.
For the past 2 weeks, it's been so ridiculous. People just being like,
so much shit.
"Oh, Lewis is
going to Ferrari.
What?
Lewis is
They're like
there's
not gonna change the car. They're getting a brand new car next week or something.
What?
Like that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking?
Yeah, it's just wild. People make the wildest accusations about Mercedes, and only Mercedes generally. They're just like,
I mean, they are like reigning world champs.
Not at this point.
Well, not at this point, but at like. They are still
one
of the best in recent times. So.
Sure. But, like, it's only them. Like, people don't take, like, Max didn't win this race, right? You're not going to see a single person say, oh, man, he's out of the game. Like, he's going to look for a change, blah, blah, blah. They didn't favor him in the race, so he's going to look for a change. Like, nobody is going to say that, but they would say that about Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah. I still think it's just a different situation, but
well, a little bit, but like even last year, that was the same thing. First race in, every speculation was that Lewis Hamilton was retiring immediately, and I'm like, he has 2 years on his contract, like he's not retiring. They're not gonna he's never mentioned anything about that. He's only said things about putting the work in and trying to work harder, and like. People keep saying things. People are like, oh, he's defeated on the radio. Like when he said, should we just retire the car? But he was actually just trying to look out for the team. Like, because he was like, we're in over our heads budget-wise, so I just wanted to check in, make sure if it would, like, help the team, then I would retire the car. Like, that's just a team player, you know,
Rumors
which
and
he
lies.
is. I know, but it's always
Rumors
about
and
Lewis.
lies. Yeah.
That's my point. Even more
Well,
so
Lewis
than
is just the
Mercedes.
most international
Yeah,
superstar of all of them.
it's true. All right, what's our...
What? What?
Okay. Anyways, who is our driver of the day? The fans voted. 26% of the vote went to Max Verstappen, so he's driver of the day according
and
to...
you know, we're not going to say Max.
Yeah, we're not going to say Max.
Never.
Even though he had a great race.
I would never. I would never.
Hilarious. He had a great race. Don't get me wrong. Great race. I think Checo had a better race, obviously, because he won.
Famously won.
He famously won this race.
I do think Checo.
This race for him. I was gonna say Leclerc at a certain point, but he stunted
at what
that.
point?
Well,
I think
earlier in the race,
Yeah.
not
Sure.
not
I
after
mean,
the
he
race.
did come. He
He
did.
had a great comeback.
Comeback.
He was fighting hard. He was keeping the distance between him and Max too, and he was passing people quicker than Max was. He was having a good
and
race.
he did have a way better start than Max
did.
maintained 15th, and he jumped up to 9th
Exactly.
right away.
So Leclerc was having a really great beginning of the race, and
Yeah.
had he kept up that pace, I think he would have been driver of the day. But not.
I think both
today.
him and Lewis had really impressive stints,
Yeah.
and then
Dropped
got
off at the end.
tripped up behind their teammate.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
a very similar situation of
Yes.
they just didn't
Yeah.
push on their teammate.
Yeah.
Leclerc was on the radio maybe saying he was confused about what he was
happened?
allowed
Yeah.
to do, or I don't
Like
know.
if they were gonna push and if they could race, or if it was worth it even is the thing. Because like if you don't have a chance to catch the person ahead of the person in front of you, or in front of your teammate, then what's why risk that pass? Like I get it.
I know. I'm just confused. Like if
But-
I'm Leclerc and
Or Lewis.
Lewis,
Yeah.
it makes more sense at this. Like you were saying, like
Yeah.
he's about the team, and is there any point
Yeah.
to fight with
Well,
Russell?
they were like,
If
yeah,
you don't have a chance of catching Alonso, like
No.
so, you might as well
yeah.
not risk anything. But for Leclerc, it's like, what have you got to lose?
could have
the
pushed,
team has
yeah.
screwed you over so many
His pace
times.
was
Who
so
cares?
much
Like what
better.
they're telling you on the radio, just go for it.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I didn't expect Leclerc to stay behind Sainz that long. It was strange. Very strange. It was fascinating to see at the end. It was all 2x2. They were talking about, we had 2 Red Bulls, then Alonso, so that was the outlier. But then the 2 Mercedes, then the 2 Ferraris, then, yeah, it's just
in
like,
their little pairs.
followed by the 2 Alpines, and then Haas, AlphaTauri, Haas. But for the most part, like,
House.
the teams were all together. Like, all the cars
That is
finished right
kinda
next to
funny.
each other. It was weird.
In a hypothetical, would Stroll have lined up that way had he not been out?
Ooh, that's a great question.
He was really pushing.
I mean,
hard.
he was
Honestly,
pushing.
he was
He
having
was
a good race.
pushing.
Stroll was doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, surprisingly good job.
I do feel like he might have been just right there with Alonso.
I think George would have ended up ahead of him.
Fair.
Maybe Lewis, but definitely George. Because that's kind of where it was anyways. And
Sure.
Lewis, it was more of a fight with Lewis, I feel like. Stroll's drive. At that point in the race that he ended up retiring.
Oh, that he ended up. Yeah.
So I think Lewis could have ended up in front of behind him, but I think it would have been broken up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Anyway.
wild. But it says a lot that Mercedes fighting with Aston Martin this weekend, and Ferrari is
Just
the team behind.
yeah.
It's so strange. Right? I
Things
know.
are
Like I didn't expect that coming into this season. I really thought Ferrari was going to be better. Oh well. So, Checo, driver of the day on this podcast.
Yeah, I think Checo.
Our opinion matters more than the worldwide voters.
Right. Who actually pay for their F1 TV subscription.
Okay, somebody's paying for ours.
I'm telling you, we're sponsored. Like,
yeah, like what do you mean? Oh, all right. So congrats to Checo. fantasy results? Well, we don't even have those. This is
Are
too
they
early.
calculated?
I don't think so, but on fantasy, I was really struggling this week to decide if I wanted to keep Ferrari as a constructor, and I was thinking about switching with Aston Martin or Mercedes.
And you didn't?
And I didn't.
Rough.
Mistake.
I should have trusted my instinct. I thought Mercedes would have solid points with both cars.
Yeah.
About where they ended up.
And they did, so, yeah.
But I was like, Ferrari's probably going to mess up or be out front. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a risk. I hope they bring more to that car. We'll see.
Did you make any changes to your fantasy?
I did. I switched out Alpine for Aston Martin, which was a good choice, except that then Lance didn't finish, so I'm not sure if that will actually be a better choice, because you had 2 Alpines right in the middle, and then you had 1 Aston Martin that ended up in either 4th or 5th, to TBD. And so I don't know. I'm not sure that was the right choice. I think it was the right choice, but didn't play out well for me this week. And then I switched out a driver as well. Who did I switch out? I think I made a bad choice on that one, actually. I think I switched out Kevin Magnussen for Alex Albon.
Oh, that's a bad choice.
And Alex Albon didn't finish. But Williams was looking to have a good race this weekend.
They were, and that was just unfortunate that happened.
Yeah, that was rough. So, bad choice by me. Kevin Magnussen had a great race.
I haven't even looked at my fantasy thing until just now.
Fair. So you didn't change anybody out?
I'm too busy making TikToks.
Yeah. You're making great TikToks. Follow us on TikTok.
Takes a lot of time to make TikToks. It's very annoying. Sometimes it's fun, but there have been so many times where I'm 99% done and the draft just doesn't save, and I'm like,
that's so annoying.
To murder you. Fine, ban the app. I don't even care.
I was gonna say you might not have to worry about it much longer if they ban it because racism.
Facebook
paid
because
government
literally
because Meta is like butthurt over.
Yeah, and I'm like, but what? There's no whatever. Everyone's already doing this. Like
everyone already has all of our data.
Yeah. And they've been just as upfront about it as any other platform. So, who cares? Like, they're not doing anything wrong. People opt into this.
They're not paying enough for propaganda against their competitors.
True.
Like Facebook is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Let's get Facebook out of here.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like we were talking about this with somebody. But I would get rid of Facebook, but I want Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, sure.
Bring back
you mean Craigslist? Like
we could, if that dropped out, we could go back to Craigslist so easy.
It's true. It's
true.
Okay.
Developers to volunteer their time, fix it up a little.
I'm down to get rid of Facebook.
Right? Let's do it. Let's all delete it right now.
I don't think I've even been on my Facebook in
I never go on my Facebook.
I'm like, who is even on this app anymore?
Honestly. I think some people are, but I'm not.
I go on every day.
Every day.
And I share 2 posts. One of them is these are not my accounts. I share posts from 2 different accounts. One of them is the same photo of Michael Cera every day.
I've seen you post that.
And the other one is the same photo of a gravel pile every day.
Oh, what?
And that's Facebook for you.
That is where Facebook shines.
That's the best use of Facebook.
Truly. Yeah.
You could hope for.
And Marketplace. Let's get back to Formula One. Somehow.
Listener question.
Let's move on to listener questions. If you have a question, email us at motosportpod@gmail.com.
Spell it out.
Oh, man. MOTO sport POD @gmail.com. Yeah, you know how to spell that. Okay. Cool. So today's question, or 2 questions?
Yeah. Or we can just do one.
We'll start with one.
We'll start with one.
Comes from Jason. Shout out Jason. Thank you for your question. You have it. I don't.
Oh, yes. The question is, which driver best reflects your style of driving?
In like regular traffic?
Yes.
Like, I'm hearing the question and I'm thinking, like, when you're in traffic and you come up on a situation that you're like,
we're racing.
Yes,
like,
you're
am
racing.
Making a choice between where you are and where another car is, and you're generally getting in a race vibe. What do you do? Like, oh, there's that car. I want to be ahead of that car, or I don't want that car to pass me. What are you doing?
Okay.
But obviously, we're not actually racing on the street.
I know who I would say for you.
Oh, you do? I'm
Yes.
actually curious.
Yes. You're Fernando Alonso.
I was going to say Fernando Alonso.
You get a little
'Cause I
bit
get
upset.
weird.
You just get, it's like, oh my God, chill. Like, what? You get so unnecessarily frustrated.
Well,
like,
I don't.
everyone is making the wrong decision.
They are.
You're right.
Well, I'm following like road etiquette, and they're not. So then I will toy with drivers who aren't giving me road etiquette because they don't. If they're not respecting road etiquette, then I don't respect them. So I was gonna say Alonso for that reason because I think he toys with drivers that way. Yeah.
What is your relationship to your horn on your car?
I don't use it much.
No, you don't. You're really hesitant with
Yeah.
it. You hover, does the hover, and then
Yeah.
you try to
I
you
do
go for it. But
a
it's
light tap
too
sometimes, and then sometimes it's too late, or I didn't actually push it. So
I think I'm pretty similar.
yeah.
late. Yeah.
In that I like rarely use the horn unless I'm like, this will actually be
Yes.
helpful here,
Yeah, it's usually like a safety thing.
or I need to let someone know
Yeah.
that they were
They did
clearly
something.
not being safe. Like,
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
bad.
Definitely. But like specifically on like the highways, because I use cruise control, and then cars will be passing me and then slowing me down and then passing me and slowing me down, and I hate that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why are you trying so hard to pass me, to get in front of me, to slow down? So I'll do it to them, just right back, just because it's super annoying.
Very Alonso.
Yeah, very Alonso.
It's so much fun to be the passenger.
You can drive.
No thanks.
That's what I thought.
I think I'm similar, but I would put myself more on George Russell defending,
Oh, okay.
where I'm not emotional about it. It's not like I'm upset with you. But
Oh,
if you're trying
I
to
am.
pass me, I'm going to put myself in a position that's going to make that more hard for you.
Sure.
Sure.
And be aware and try
Yeah.
and defend. But,
And then
yeah.
do you compliment yourself when you do a great overtake?
yes.
Crush that.
You call Emma, you're like, I just did a great overtake.
It's like, great.
Call the pit. Did you see that?
Did you see?
Man, did you see my move? Amazing. No, that makes sense. Sometimes I'm like that, but I let my emotions in there too often.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there to do on a long drive? I gotta stay
even
engaged.
on a short drive, everyone's doing the wrong thing.
Well, they
Everyone's
are.
driving.
Oftentimes they are.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Like, and it's annoying.
It's just
I don't shout though. Well,
no.
sometimes,
You don't
but
shout. It's
I'm not
just
like it's
the,
not like road rage.
it's just like the
frustration.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just annoyed at
tension.
people.
a lot
Yeah.
of tension in the car.
But then I have fun with it. That's why I do that, to relieve the tension.
Sure.
For me, it helps.
Yeah.
Because if they do it to me, then I do it to them, and yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's justice.
Justice has
Yes.
been served.
Justice.
Yes, that's what it
has been
is.
served.
Every time Josiah gets in the car,
I think
he is
justice.
serving justice. Just in case anyone was wondering.
I'm a justice driver. Who do you drive like?
I famously don't drive.
I know. I was like, I don't really know how you drive because I always drive
passenger.
when we're
So I'm a reserve driver.
Daniel Ricciardo.
I was going to say Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah.
It's true.
Yes.
You bring the lightheartedness.
Yes. Well, if I would say, it's hard because I'm not any type of way. I don't drive often enough to be pissed off when things happen. You know, I'm just like, I'm just,
sure.
You know.
Sure.
So, and like not even like pissed off or
excited.
Or like, I'm just like,
it's just
point A to point B.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're being an asshole and being weird.
Your joke on you.
I guess
you're like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Joke on you.
Yeah. I guess
or
that's
Valtteri too.
Or Valtteri.
Yeah. Similar.
Yeah. Actually, that makes sense.
Yeah. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not making jokes and whatnot, and you're not like trying too hard like Daniel. Like you're like Daniel as a reserve driver, but
definitely not Daniel in
as
any
a driver.
Personality or a driving style. We do not have similarities there.
No, except that you're not driving right now.
Yes. That's where our commonalities lie. It's
but
much it.
I think either
Valtteri
Alfa Romeo driver right now.
Back of the pack.
Well, that's the car's fault. That's not your fault. I'm not saying you're a bad driver.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a good driver. Great question.
Great question. Do we want to do the other one or save it?
We can do the other one.
Let's do the other one.
I mean, this one is like, I feel like we're all going to have the same answer.
What was the question again?
Which driver do you aspire to be like?
Oh, Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. I think that's obvious.
Yeah. I was like trying to think.
In every way, shape, and form for me.
Jared has a different one.
I mean, yes, Lewis Hamilton.
As a driver,
well, see,
as a person,
that's why I was saying
we
should just take him off the table.
Yeah.
He's not an option. Who would you choose then?
What were
you going to say?
I lean towards Albon.
Ooh, I like that. Honestly,
Albon.
You're very similar to because Albon has like a really good sense of humor.
He does.
There's something about Albon that I'm like, that guy seems genuinely cool.
He literally,
I would hang out with him.
And he's just funny.
Yeah.
Like there's a thing that Williams posted, like he does like funny desktop background pictures.
Oh, funny.
And I feel like that's something Jared would do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
he just
like
dyes
obscure
his hair
humor,
a color, and red for like a whole season.
Why not? Yeah, it might be good luck.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
And he's just chill. He's just like having a good time.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, what an interesting career he's had.
Mm-hmm.
And like Lewis is just, I don't know.
Perfection? What?
He's not.
Not a problem?
I don't know, working class maybe.
Well, he
and none of them are. None of them are.
No.
But
I was like he
really,
came up the same way though.
He is an A-lister.
Well, now.
And is an A-lister.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's true.
He's been an A-lister
you know what I mean?
for a long.
I think he's the only A-list Formula One driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I stand by that. Even with Max being world champion, I think still
I don't think Max
Lewis Hamilton is leagues above in terms of like global recognition.
Yeah, but I'm saying it as a negative point of what I don't want to be like.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. Albon's seems
a little more chill.
A little bit more genuine, a little bit more chill. Lewis is
I think,
and his position, it's hard to be. I guess.
Lewis, I don't think he can be genuine in his position. I think everything is very calculated because it has to be, because he's the only black driver in this sport.
And everyone makes so many assumptions.
Everyone is so critical because he's also the best.
Yeah,
right.
So he can't. I don't feel like I know Lewis's personality really at all.
Sure.
Because
sure, that makes sense.
And I feel like Albon, you know who that guy is right away.
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
that's
so
true.
I do see what you're saying.
And it's definitely so much different in the amount of pressure for all of those reasons, and just Albon's just young. He's driving a Williams. He literally,
but he did drive the Red Bull also.
Yeah, and he
like
did
he
a
has
great
experience
job.
at the front of the grid, and he did. Yeah, especially for it being like his second season,
and I think
first
he consistently performed better over time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when they said you have to perform better or you're gone, he
did.
He performed better.
He got better, and then they still switched him out. But Checo was a worthy choice, and I'm just glad Alex is back in the sport.
Honestly, I can't see Alex's personality doing well at Red Bull.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a hard car to drive, though. He said he had a good time. Like, I mean, Helmut Marko's been a big part of his career. Obviously, Red Bull has as a whole because he was in their driver program.
I guess
came
that's
up
true.
Through AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
They sponsored his way through Formula 2, Formula 3, I think. So, like, he owes a lot to them. I think he likes them a lot still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll ever drive for them again.
No.
I don't. I don't think him or Gasly will.
Young.
I think Gasly's more bitter with Red Bull, though. I don't think Alex is.
I think that they both have a shot at driving for Red Bull again.
I don't.
I don't know about Gasly for me.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they'd pull them up again. Because, like, you'd really have to show that you could drive that car better, and it's such a difficult car to drive that I don't think you can show that.
It is a different
on
car
another
now,
team,
because of the new restrictions and stuff. The redesign.
No, but it's still
better.
like greatly geared towards Max. It's
for
front sensitive.
But I'm saying,
hell.
I'm talking in like 5 years from now.
Sure.
And
one of those two
Sure.
being on the team would not surprise me at all.
I guess I could see it, especially if they. The only reason I don't think I see it is because they have AlphaTauri, and should the team hold on to AlphaTauri and not sell, because that is
well, they said they
possible.
aren't going to.
Oh, they did?
Though.
Oh, okay.
Helmut Marko said that. Yeah.
Sure. So they're not going to sell that team.
Like,
that's
they're not
the
happy with
development
where the
program.
team is, but
they're trying to, like, they want to pull drivers from that team to move up to Red Bull. That's the whole point of that team existing in Formula One, which is wild.
But they are going, if the people on that team are not performing as well as an Alex Albon or Pierre Gasly, they're going to go with them instead.
No,
they don't. I don't think they have necessary. They're going for what's best for them.
They're not loyal.
I could see it. I just think it's one of the less likely options, because Max is going to last a long time in the sport, probably.
Yes.
Checo's doing great. There's really no reason to get rid of either of them anytime soon. And they do have good drivers coming up in that program.
We shall see.
We'll see. Yeah. Not sure. It's so hard to predict. I mean, you can never tell.
I mean, from last year to this year, even. It's
absolutely. Either way, I think Alex is being a really good team leader. And and I would absolutely aspire to be like him. He's a great
I think
driver.
That's a great choice.
Great answer. Yeah, I like that.
Who do you aspire to be?
That's not Lewis? I guess someone more like Zhou Guanyu. Yeah. That's how I treat a lot of the work that I do, is just like head down, do the work, and that's it. Like, so I think that's kind of how I aspire, is like just try it, just like, just do it, just work hard.
Yeah, I would say
do your best.
Also, Zhou Guanyu for me, or Valtteri. Honestly, those are
Valtteri's good.
Who I'm like,
I think Zhou Guanyu has more potential than Valtteri, though.
Yeah, I guess I just mean Valtteri's.
Oh, sure.
Seems like he has a chill lifestyle.
Absolutely,
and he's funny.
That's true. That's true. I'm not a mullet fan, but I like Valtteri.
He's making it work for him, though. You gotta do you.
Absolutely. If you look good, if you feel good in that haircut, do it.
Go 100%.
I think that's what I love about Valtteri.
I think him and his girlfriend I saw are starting or have stake in a gin line.
Oh.
Which
that
would be cool to aspire to have a line of gin.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Send us a couple free bottles. We'll make it a sponsor.
Yeah.
We're pretty cheap for sponsors.
Valtteri.
Buy us an F1 thing. Shout out Jason.
Yes.
Or send us a bottle of gin.
Absolutely. If you want to be a sponsor of this podcast, send us a bottle of gin.
Literally. If That's all it takes to be a sponsor. Just send us a bottle of gin.
We'll also take a good whiskey.
Sure. Alcohol.
Yeah.
Send it our way.
Decent. Yeah.
Alcohol or TV subscriptions.
Yeah. We'll drink it on the show.
And if we like it,
then you'll be a
if
sponsor.
we like it.
If we like it. Yeah. Absolutely. So that's your answer is Valtteri?
I think so.
Choke on you?
Yeah, the Alfa Romeos.
Even though you that's already who you are.
Who I am is who I aspire to be.
I love that. I also aspire
to
be you.
Definitely not a sociopath.
All right. Thank you for your question, Jason. If you have a question, email us. I'm not saying it again.
Fair.
Not spelling it again. motosportpod@gmail.com. Minnesota moments.
Don't know if I had one.
Oh, really?
Did you have one?
I have two potentials. So
give me one of them.
Yeah, you pick yours.
Yeah.
And whichever one you don't pick will be.
Yeah. I'll claim it.
I mean, the eagle formation of the light drones.
Of the drone lights?
We got a lot of eagles around Minnesota.
That's
we do.
True. We have a whole foundation and a hub for bald eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially over the winter.
Minnesota, not like
not
America.
Not America.
Yeah.
Why did they have that eagle?
I think to thank us for all the bombs we give them.
Probably. Honestly, though.
Right, but we're taking it as Minnesota eagles.
Yes.
Yeah, around Lake Pepin.
Specifically,
just like real eagles, like real bald eagles.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great Minnesota moment.
Great.
Definitely. Very Minnesotan. Okay, so I did have two. During the race, there was a moment where the announcers were talking about, since both Red Bulls were at the front and Max is usually at the front, that there could be the possibility of team orders to Max to keep him to hold back. And so they were saying, I'd love to be in the garage and see that conversation of who would have to tell Max what's going on. And so the idea of the engineers at Red Bull having to talk about, like, hey, who wants to tell Max?
You tell Max.
Can you tell Max? Can you? That's a Minnesota moment for me.
Yes.
Theoretical, but still, I like that image.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And then the other one was in the post race, Jack Doan.
Just being awkward.
The reserve driver for Alpine. Yeah. Yeah.
Really
in the post race show, just standing so blankly, like every rural white Minnesotan I know, and have had a conversation with ever, with just like a tiny little bit of stubble around the jawline, but not much, and
pale.
Just like pale and just a blank stare at whoever's talking. I'm like, this is like creepy. I don't know.
That's somebody that is in Minnesota, from rural Minnesota, that's going to college for a sports scholarship of some kind.
Yeah, definitely. Because they're not used to so many people. They're used to hanging out in a rural situation, and they're like...
A rural situation?
Well, yeah. It's just a slower environment, less people around, and so when it gets more overstimulating, it's just easy to... zone out.
Very overstimulated.
He was very overstimulated. That's what it seemed like anyways. Just had nothing to add unless he was directly asked a question, and then otherwise was just blank staring.
Even the way that he like introduced he's like, a question from me is like, just ask it. We understand that you're asking a question because you're speaking.
And we know it's
you don't
from
need
you.
to announce it.
Oh, so funny. I love that. So I love that guy. Shout out to those guys in Minnesota. You know who you are. So those are my two Minnesota moments. And
I'll take the second one.
Nothing else? No other ideas?
I guess there was a moment in the grid walk where Sam Collins was trying to get through a bunch of people, and he was like, okay, we got to get through these people just standing here awkwardly. And
that was funny.
Felt like a Minnesota moment to me of like people just kind of being.
Yeah, we all know that this is an awkward situation, but nobody's going to do anything to change it or acknowledge it. Except for the person on the mic,
it felt very much like comparing someone from New York with someone from Minnesota. Like Sam Collins comes in as the New Yorker, like this is awkward. Please move now. I'm trying to.
And
do
everyone's
work.
like, "Oh, we're still awkward. We don't really know how to respond to what you're even saying." Like,
oh, we're just still awkward.
Yeah, we're not gonna move and make it less awkward. Oh, I love it. Plenty of Minnesota. Moments, right?
Look at Jeddah has.
It's basically
Jeddah
Minnesota
is
sport.
Minnesota, right? It's basically the same thing.
Well. How do we wrap this thing up normally?
Follow us, listen to the pod, like, subscribe. Oh, and we also, as just a mitigation strategy, if TikTok does go down, I did create us a YouTube account and have put all of our things on Shorts. So
shout out YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
I
So
agree with that decision.
Yeah.
But also Instagram Reels were there too, but
yes,
we don't. That's meta. So.
Exactly.
Where's the next?
Our
one?
options
YouTube
are dwindling.
Shorts. Yeah.
So
funny.
But yeah, and if you have questions or want to submit Minnesota moments, email us.
Yeah, please do. We want to hear from you.
Oh, we want to hear from you.
Oh, we want to hear from you. Oh, damn it. I went Irish.
Shout out St. Patrick's Day weekend.
St. Patty's Day, yeah. Thanks you for listening. I'm so good at talking.
Yes. Okay, bye.
Bye.